I'd like to tell a story. It's a big story about how we got here and maybe where we're going. It's about the big picture, but it's also about little actions, and the stakes are high. Faith traditions tell us that God created the heavens and the earth, and it was good. Over billions of years, the earth developed. It had a lithosphere, the layer with all the rocks and minerals. It had an atmosphere, a layer with the air and clouds and gases. And it developed a biosphere, a thin, fragile layer where life began and flourished. That's where we live today. These layers interacted with each other and became an ecological system that reached an equilibrium, and everything was in balance. Things between the layers stayed where they were supposed to, and it was good. Sometimes, though, big things happened that disrupted the system. Earth had 5 extinction events that eliminated massive amounts of life. The dinosaurs were just one. The worst was 250 million years ago, caused by a huge volcanic event that released a lot of carbon dioxide from the lithosphere into the atmosphere, killing most life. But after these big events, the system got back in balance, and life rebounded over millions of years and continued. About 200,000 years ago, humans came, and humans were good too. But we were newcomers. How long have we been around? If the Earth's history were on a roll of toilet paper, 400 sheets long, from the end of the roll, ocean life began on sheet 240. The dinosaurs were on sheets 19 to 5 before making way for mammals on sheets 5 to the end. Humans are the last 2 millimeters. Early humans were part of the biosphere, and we started small. As we grew, we figured out ways to increase the food to feed the growing population. We also began moving things around between the layers and bringing things from the lithosphere into the biosphere. This helped us live and grow, but sometimes it disrupted the balance. We kept growing, and over the last few thousand years, we built big things. And then about 250 years ago, we had a revolution in industry and science. We started taking massive amounts of oil, which is basically carbon, out of the lithosphere, burning it, and putting it into the atmosphere. We started taking toxins like lead and mercury that had been buried in the lithosphere and putting it into the biosphere. We eliminated parts of the biosphere like forests, plants, animals, and species. And with all the carbon in the air, the atmosphere started acting like a greenhouse, and the Earth is heating up. Remember that big volcanic extinction from all the carbon? All along, some peoples understood that we were not in balance with the Earth. And then over the last 100 years, a lot more people started to understand that they would need to change the way they lived if we were going to continue as part of the fragile biosphere. Unrelated to the environment, 35 years ago, a small group came together who wanted to make the world a little more peaceful. These peacemakers worked in teams, they built partnerships with people in conflict, and hoped to transform oppression and violence into something positive and life-giving. The peacemakers worked in different places where there was conflict. They were like a collection of households that lived and worked together. They ate food, used electricity and gas, traveled around. They helped their partners, and they made garbage and pollution. The peacemakers saw that their partners were having trouble living in this changing climate. They could see that the climate crisis would only fuel more violence and conflict. One of their partners was in Colombia, named Marisela. The peacemakers asked her about her situation. Marisela explained that dry seasons are stronger and last longer. Usually there would be several days of rain, but not as much now. Crops are not as productive. Family food security and economy are affected. There are also health-related issues due to the increased heat. The peacemakers realized that the way they were operating was also part of the bigger problems facing humans. They realized they also were polluting and using up the Earth's resources. They started to ask how they could be part of the solution. The peacemakers started to measure what they were doing. They measured how much waste and pollution they were making. In 2019, they were responsible for 1.1 ton of garbage and 210 tons of carbon. That's like driving 840,000 kilometers to the moon and back. Could the peacemakers decrease the harm? There were some easy places to start. In Kurdistan and Chicago, they could use solar. In Colombia, they could compost to keep garbage out of the polluting landfill. They could reduce flights, and they would measure their impact each year. After we measure, then we can ask how we can improve. Let's be transparent to ourselves, to our partners, and our supporters. We can publish these numbers in our annual report, and we can report how we have improved. We can create a plan to reduce our harm, set targets. Each program and office could include sustainability goals. And we can ask how our program work can build partnerships with those who are working for a sustainable future. So, like I said, this is a big story. It starts with God creating a good creation. It's about our place in the lithosphere and atmosphere and biosphere. It includes big extinctions. But it is also about the small things that make up this good creation. It is about the responsibility of the peacemakers. It is about Maricela. We don't have control over the full big picture, but we do have control over our small actions. So let's take some small actions to have a big impact, so we all can continue to live in this good creation.